Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, it was our fault. We made a mistake. Spotter said it was clear. I wasn't clear, and, I didn't want to tear my car up, tear his car up either. I respect everybody, and I demand respect. And, I apologized to the guy when he came over the car, explained to him what happened, and then he took it to another level when he started calling me an idiot and whatever else. And I don't appreciate that. I'm not going to take it. I told him how I feel. I called him out. He didn't show, and so, I'm good with it if he's good with it, but I'm not going to be disrespected by no means.
Yeah, I guess I had a dinner date at Applebee's last night that I didn't find out until it was too late. It's a shame. Love their riblets and boneless wings, but...
All right, folks, well, welcome to Applebee's. This is not your Formula One podcast. I am Brien, once again here with my lovely co-hosts that aren't giving me any shit, Rob and Ashley.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi, so what's going on, folks?
Well, not a whole lot. I believe you guys finally got some sleep after the, burning the candle at both ends past few weeks, right?
Yeah.
Truelove, you're back in wherever you're from.
I'm real excited to be back on our regular schedule and not coming straight in from a Greyhound to record this.
You didn't take a Greyhound ride for fun last weekend?
No. Not, up and down the block or anything.
Did you keep your promise of staying glued to your couch the entire time?
I might have.
Good. That's a lot of running around, so I don't blame you.
But yeah.
How about you, Brien? How you doing?
Getting back to normal. It's been a couple weeks home for me, but I actually brief business chat last week. After all the running around, I finally got to move into my antique mall booth. So if you guys are traveling through the Medina, Ohio area anytime soon, you can stop by the Medina Antique Mall and buy some racing stuff. I've got my Kyle Petty 1996 race used hood on display that somebody actually already tried to buy, but they gave me too low of an offer. But yeah, there's some racing stuff, so I was doing that all last weekend, and who knows, maybe this weekend I'll go to some racing, because you're going to be in my part of the country.
Yes, I am. I am going to be at The Dream at Eldora Speedway. Big bucket list item. My buddy Kyle Armstrong, who I've mentioned on this show before, host of the Forward Bite podcast and professional DARF hunter, invited me out to Eldora last weekend. I guess he had a guy in his RV or his camper bail out on him, and he's like, hey, man, if you want to come out, I got a place for you to lay your head at the end of the night. And I very irresponsibly put it all on a credit card, and I'll see you fuckers on Friday out there. I won't make it there on Thursday, unfortunately, for the first night of prelims, but I'll be there for Friday and, of course, the big show on Saturday. I am so fucking excited to drink some toilet waters and breathe in some of that disgusting Ohio dust.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what your situation was with staying and all that, because I'm debating. We'll see what happens. There's a chance I come out on Saturday to hang out, and we'll get into that off the air, but
yeah, I tell you what, folks. I tell you what, Brian's talked about this antique mall. One thing that would push him in that direction, is if you went there and bought all that shit out of his store in Medina, Ohio. True. So it always sweetens the pot to have a full little wallet going into a situation like that, which I do not. So I'm gonna need Brian to buy me all the $2 beers possible. So he's got to come, folks.
Yeah, $2 beers is like, I haven't seen that in years. Even like Lebanon Valley, I think it's like $3 or $4 for a beer, but $2 is
the only time
wild.
I've ever seen anything like that was at Wisconsin International, or Kaukauna, up in Wisconsin, obviously. I think they had like 6 packs for $10, which was fucking awesome. And then they just leave them closed for you.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, don't be an asshole and open up, get all dirt and shit in them.
Yeah,
no, thank you.
This is great. But yeah, I can't wait to go. Again, this is on the bucket list for me. Eldora in general, but the Dream or the World 100. Yeah, I'm very excited. And for all you plane enthusiasts out there, I'm going to stop into the U.S. Air Force Museum in Dayton on my way through. I've always wanted to go check that out. They have a pretty crazy experimental section there. All the old Air Force shit, from the Cold War and all that. So very much looking forward to this whole weekend, and that's a nice little cherry on top for Daddy over here. So.
Is Bloomquist gonna be out there this weekend or what?
For Daddy? I don't believe he is. I didn't see him on the initial entry list, but the first one I saw had about 64 cars on it, and I know they've announced more. There's a lot of his chassis running out there, and I think his team will be present, but I don't think Bloomer's going to be out there.
Bummer.
But I will double check that and get back to you later in the show.
Okay.
Maybe he'll make.
We'll be talking more about Eldora a little bit later.
Maybe you'll run into him at the aircraft museum.
Maybe. maybe the aliens will drop him off there, and he can give me a little tour of all this experimental shit that we. He's got firsthand knowledge of who we ripped that shit off from. So that's a different podcast altogether.
Yes. But speaking of the podcast, we got to get into some racing coverage. There was a bunch of
Formula One news. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there was a race and none of us watched it. I just know Max Verstappen won yet again, so good for him. Good fucking job.
I don't even know how you bet on F1, to be honest with you.
Oh, I've looked at the odds are awful. It's just like, you know, Verstappen, I think the last couple races have been like, to win, he's like under 300, negative 300, whatever you want to call it. It's just
You
like,
owe them money.
yeah, it's
Yeah, you
fucking
owe
nuts.
DraftKings money.
Like 0 point in betting on that at this point. So, yeah, I haven't fucked with it at all. But that was F1. IndyCar was in Detroit. That was, I watched some of it thanks to the lightning delay on Sunday, which definitely kind of helped NASCAR's coverage in that sense and allowed some people to watch IndyCar. And it seemed like a really tight course up in Detroit. A lot of cars saw on the wall.
Yeah, a lot of argy-bargy kind of get the fuck out of the way, you know, suspension damage type racing going on. But what a fucking show. 2 weeks in a row. And you couldn't have two more different racetracks, but still the same quality, exciting show. I don't know if purists would really like that race as much if you were watching IndyCar back in the 90s, but I don't know. I fucking loved that. So
Why do you say that now?
just how aggressive everybody runs and just how wheel to wheel and all that. And you know, again, it's just kind of the same argument across a lot of different forms of racing these days, that the sort of overall temperature is much hotter and more aggressive. And people are more willing to take some wild chances, and we saw plenty of that in Detroit. I thought that was fucking awesome, though, and it's about what you can expect out of a place that's, you know, a postage stamp wide. I like racing on the sidewalks pretty much from what it looked like.
So, question about Indy cars, you know, now compared to the 90s, I guess, and it's more about the cars themselves. One thing that I've noticed is the rear wheel and like the back half of the car seems to be way more covered than it used to be. Yep. Is that kind of why guys can race more aggressively now, or is that just like more an aerodynamic thing, or what is that?
It definitely helps that the car is a little bit wider and the wheels are kind of flush with the sides of the car. I mean, there used to be more coverage behind the tires when the most recent car came out. This is a variation on the DW12 that came out 2012, something like that. They used to be a lot more bubbly and kind of ugly, and then they kind of stripped them down to make them look a little bit more like traditional Indy cars. And yeah, they still maintained the really wide side pods, and they're pretty durable. Again, you can still bust your suspension up pretty good, but you know, they're all the same. They're all pretty square, and you can really get a lot more impact out of the sides of those things than you used to be able to.
I see. Well, that's cool. Well,
I only watched to see all the clips of Flavor Flav hanging out with Will Power and Roger
Penske. You know, they're about the same age, Roger and Flavor Flav, I think.
Did they ever explain why he was there and why he was getting so much coverage? Because I didn't understand.
No, I didn't catch that at all.
Because like I don't think he's from Detroit or anything, so I don't fucking have any idea why he would be there.
Yeah. I just got to give a quick shout out to once again to the NBC IndyCar broadcast team. They're the best fucking group of guys on television right now presenting races. I think everyone should take a cue from them.
Yeah, they put a lot of energy into their calls, which definitely NASCAR could use some influence in that department. So.
Agreed. But hey, we did get Uncle Kenny and
back soon.
Yeah, that's right. NBC's gonna be back in like what, 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so Dale will rocket that right back up. So that'll be good.
NBC is generally a little bit better than anyone else when it comes to motorsports coverage, you know, across the board. But yeah, particularly the IndyCar team with Townsend Bell and James Hinchcliffe. I always liked Paul Tracy. You know, I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I thought he was all right in the booth and offered a nice foil to Townsend. But I think, you know, James Hinchcliffe is a natural, and they're starting to develop sort of a, you know, Bobby Unser and Sam Posey kind of back and forth, which I really appreciate. And then of course Lee Diffie is just the biggest fucking hype man in the world. So yeah, good job guys, keep it up.
Cool. And that brings us to the NASCAR coverage for the weekend. NASCAR was a couple different places. We had the trucks and cup cars in St. Louis at Gateway, or it's not called Gateway anymore, is it? What the hell is it called now?
It's Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Yeah, whatever. It's still Gateway.
The house that Kenny Wallace built, if you ask.
Too many words.
Yeah, and we also had the guys out, the Xfinity guys out in Portland. It was kind of a weird weekend as far as, weather was kind of iffy. Not even iffy on Sunday. It's just there was lightning delays, which caused a 2-hour break before the Cup race started. But the other races, they went off without a hitch for the most part. I mean, Portland, they figured it would be rainy. It wasn't really rainy at all, but I honestly didn't watch much of it. It was too nice of a day, so after watching the trucks, I was like, all right, I got to go outside and do some shit.
Yeah, I didn't really watch a whole lot of that either. I did catch the end of that race. I was supposed to go to Seekonk and watch the American Canadian Tour, but that got rained out, like pretty much everything else up here in New England. By the way, a little bit annoyed at how they handled that shit. They were very secretive about what was going on, and Seekonk even went as far as posting a video of trucks, like the sport trucks, running around the track saying, "Oh, heats are starting," when I'm pretty sure they were just out there trying to see if the track was going to be able to be dry enough to run on, which ultimately it wasn't. They were just trying to take people's money, and I get it, it's a business, but I didn't make the drive, and it makes me not want to go back to that place. And usually the American Canadian Tour is a little tighter of a show, but that definitely rubbed me the wrong way as somebody who's got to drive an hour down to that place, and you have probably the shittiest pissers in all of New England and of all of short track racing. So that's another strike against Seekonk. As much as I love that place, I hate taking a piss there, and it just kind of bothers me.
10 favorite and least favorite pissers in.
Yeah. You got to be more descriptive if you're going to talk about that.
It's like they just bolted some troughs into someone's basement.
That's like every fucking dirt track.
This is different. This one has like a certain Saw 5 kind of feel to it. Like,
Oh no!
it's fucked up in there, man. I'm telling you. I like the stalls are there too, but it's just like awkwardly tight, and there's just not enough room in there. It's always full, whether there's 3 or 30 people. It's the fucking worst pissing experience in all of New England. At least the one on the front stretch, anyway. I don't know about the one over in turn 3, but yeah, Seekonk's a cool track, but that definitely kind of rubbed me the wrong way that they kind of ran it that way. And same with the American Canadian Tour. It's a little bit out of character for them, in my opinion. But I know they're running a business, but whatever. But yeah, I decided not to go because I couldn't get a straight answer out of anybody. And ultimately, my spidey sense paid off, and I got to see the end of the Portland race. Yeah, it was exciting. I just don't really care for NASCAR road racing so much, other than the fights. There always seems to be a fight.
Yeah. Lots of fight threats that happened at the end of that race, but
well, technically there was a fight, sort of.
Yeah,
kind of. If you ask Jeb, it was a fight, but if you ask everybody else involved, I don't know.
Jeb thought he put an old hillbilly mud stomp on old Chandler Smith, but really it just looked like he was knocking on the door to drop off an Amazon order. That's what that was. Three little overhand taps,
We gave Chandler some shit earlier this year for some social media whining about how the Super Bowl's halftime show wasn't 2-month-old friendly, apparently. But
that fight was 2-month-old friendly, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that was something. But his comeback post documenting Jeb and his act. So Jeb, we should also mention, Jeb he definitely was shithoused after the race on Saturday and got on Twitter and was just calling Chandler out and saying how much he whooped his ass, this, that, and the other thing. And the next morning, Chandler posted a video clearly documenting that not only can Jeb not punch, but he barely even made any contact whatsoever and was left without a scratch. So good job to Chandler. You gotta praise that troll job because it was superb.
Yeah, Jeb definitely took full.
In this day and age, there's going to be video coverage to come out. Like,
listen,
Jeb was running his mouth.
Oh yeah,
it's the SMT data of fight footage, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, there was no hooks at all in that SNT data, I can tell you that much. But he certainly made full usage of the JetBlue free Wi-Fi on the way back to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And, that doesn't look good to anybody. And man, I guess him and Colleague that team don't like each other. Him and Colleague really seem to not be getting along. And, maybe there's still some sore loose ends after he left that team. I don't know, because that just was not a good scene.
Yeah.
Well, did he leave or was he like let go? I don't remember.
Somewhere in between, I think. But I would be surprised if it was
I think everyone over there was glad
Jeb's
to see
decision.
him go.
Yeah. I kind of get the feeling. I've heard a couple things from places that seems like maybe the relationship wasn't that good, and this is just kind of spilled over. Especially when, you got Chris Rice down there getting involved. God damn.
There's that weird double headlock going on too.
Yeah.
And Matt Collick's standing in the background with his arms crossed, just reigning over everything that's happening. It was a
Who even won the fucking race? Let me ask that question real quick.
Was it Allgaier, I think?
Oh, it's Cole Custer.
Oh, that's right. Cole Custer won. God damn it. Cole
That's
Custer.
right. He double fisting beers in Victory Lane. That's right.
Had to chug his little beers. Yeah.
Good to see that happen. I think, a few races late, I think everyone expected to come out here and, beat everybody like Jeb thought he was beating Chandler. But, finally something out of him and that team and gets him locked in the playoffs, and that'll set the ship straight, I think. He's always been fucking great in an Xfinity car, and it's definitely more his style. So
Yeah.
I think we'll see a little bit of a resurgence coming off that, if you ask me. And he's a good guy, too, from everything I hear. So
Yeah, I've kind of
He
liked
Likes
him
to
for a
party
while.
at Saeed's.
He's been to the Beaver, too. He celebrated his Kentucky Cup
nice.
win at the Thirsty Beaver. So anybody who does that,
Oh yeah, he did. All right.
I celebrate waking up without a headache by going to the Thirsty Beaver when I can. So, that's just me, though.
One thing I want to talk about in the truck department before we move on to Cup. Now, the race itself was fine. I think Grant Enfinger won.
Yeah.
He's a strange guy. Just weird looking, weird sounding, just odd. But the real truck news I wanted to bring up.
No contests. I won't.
Just a strange guy. But there was some other truck rumblings on social media when famed Truck Series owner Tim Vaines decided to openly, publicly mock NASCAR's Pride Month posts.
Well, it happens every year. It's it's like Puxatawny Phil coming out and telling us if winter is going to happen. Yeah, it's a tradition. Yeah.
Which, obviously you're going to get some fans and some people in the industry, but I guess you don't see as many team owners making statements like that, especially ones, who say things like "go woke, go broke" when they can't even get a truck to rate to certain races.
Wasn't that the same guy who quit NASCAR over banning the Confederate flag and then
He probably
now
did.
back?
Yes,
So.
I have to assume so.
And I'm fine with people having those opinions, even though I really disagree with all of them. It's okay to feel that way, but at least if you're going to come out and be loud about it, put your money where your mouth is, or your lack of money where your mouth is.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. While I think we're all pretty supportive of Pride Month as a concept. Is it a little bit hollow when you see corporations try to make posts about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. But again, NASCAR is trying to be inclusive, and they're trying to encourage fans of different diversities to be fans of the sport and get them to come to races and stuff. And whatever your opinion is, just let it be, and to make a statement like that and just make yourself look stupid and also shit on the sport you're trying to be involved in, it's just a bad look. And if you look at his accounts, that post is gone now. It took a couple days, but all that shit is gone. So somebody must have told him,
He
hey...
deleted his whole account.
No. I was
The
looking at
nuclear option.
his Instagram is still up, but he deleted that post. I looked at it.
Damn.
But yeah, fuck that guy. Long story short.
Brian's coming out swinging today.
Oh, I was trying to get into it with Spotter Brett again, because he said some really dumb, ignorant shit, both about the city of Chicago and then just weird stuff about vague posts about his kids being taught genders in school, and it just what the fuck are you doing, you
I don't know,
dumb
man.
redneck
It was
alcoholic
a
racist piece of
sex
shit.
ed class or something that he was talking about.
Well,
He
he was talking about learning about your bodies, essentially, which it was his daughter's in 4th grade or something like that. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but whatever he was describing is the exact same thing I started learning in my elementary or middle school. in Arkansas, very conservative, red
same class.
Arkansas. Like, that's just been the way it's been for as long as it's been, as far as I can tell. And it's just like people getting worked up over shit that doesn't concern them.
The boys and the girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, someone always got their period and cried, and then they had to separate everybody, and you know how it's the whole thing. Everybody went through this exact same thing, because that's when people start coming of age. What are you gonna wait till they're 18 to tell them about what happened 10 years ago? Like, I don't think so. Like, it's just fucking dumb. But
look, man, we live in a country where there are still grown men that don't know how to fucking wipe their own asses.
Yeah.
So to get to question the education of any child,
This conversation is going
it's a real thing, okay?
way off the rail.
and you can see it live in action at the Seekonk shitter up front in the front stretch. Khakis without belts, folks.
Oh, God.
So yeah, getting into some shit on social media this weekend. That's what I was up to.
But one more thing about
Literally and figuratively.
One more thing about people talking shit about Chicago, which it's going to be a terrible race. I'm just going to say it. That's a dumb idea. The town hates it. They're trying to have a town hall where all the councilors get together and get to yell at NASCAR publicly, which is just fucking stupid. It's local government nonsense.
I can't wait to see
We're
that.
not going back ever again after this. It's going to be a dog shit race, and yeah, I'll be a doomer about this, and we'll get back to normal NASCAR in a little bit. But the fact that we're going to talk about Chicago being this violent shithole, which it does have its problems, don't get me wrong, it is one of the gun violence capitals of the U.S., but to be doing it as NASCAR is in St. Louis, which is actually the most violent city in the United States, and not have a problem with that, give me a fucking break. Like,
It's just a lot of chirping from people who have never been outside of their suburb or never actually been in a real city at all. Like, not just Chicago, because yeah, Chicago has some shitty parts, but trust me, go to Philly, go to Baltimore, go to certain parts of Jersey. Those are some fucked up cities. Where they're in Chicago is completely as
it's like Grant Park. It's
as white bread and suburban as it gets for a city. So really nothing to worry about.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. People are gonna run their mouths and try and virtue signal and do their thing, and it is what it is, and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But what does matter is that we're probably not going back to Chicago after this year, and that's probably a good thing. So, unless we go back to the Oval, because I definitely miss Chicagoland, and I think this new car probably be pretty bitchin' out there. So,
Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
yeah.
But yeah, there was a cup race, and it was the longest.
I'm still like,
Just waking up in the middle of a
Really
racing podcast. Oh yeah.
Somebody's gotta keep us in line here. There was a 7-hour 300-mile race that happened on Sunday. The longest 300-mile race probably ever that's happened.
Like a street stock race.
Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. So, got 5 whole laps in before we had 2 hours of lightning holds, and then there I'm trying to think. Was there any other weather delays? I know there was a red flag for
They broke
had
the
to
wall.
fix the wall.
That's what I'm saying. It felt like a street stock race because
Yeah,
there's
there
a
was-
bunch of wrecks, bunch of brakes going out, and people spraying parts all over the crowd. They broke the fence.
Power grid went down a bunch of times.
Power went down.
oh yeah,
Jesus.
you name it, we had it.
Yep. It was a marathon, but in the end, Kyle Cush came out and won his 3rd race of the year, which, I can't say it was completely surprising. He had the pole. He was strong all day.
He didn't get it the way I thought he would. I thought he had a good chance of just basically, Jeff Burton 2002ing the shit out of that place, or whenever that was when they ran restrictor plates at Loudon. Was that 2000?
It was 2000. I think it was 2000 actually.
Because it was right after Adam Petty and Kenny Irwin died. So yeah, it was 2000.
Yeah.
So and they put restrictor plates on there, and everyone ran single file, and I kind of expected a little bit of that, and I expected Kyle Busch to be at least in the mix because it was all going to be one on pit road, which it definitely was. But I enjoyed that race, to be honest with you. Despite all the delays and all that shit, I thought it was entertaining. It wasn't that bad. I think people are trying to, after a few really great weeks of on-track action, now that we have something that's not just a complete barn burner, everyone wants to burn it to the ground. But I don't know, I thought that was fine.
I mean, it was better than Wilkesboro as far as the racing goes. I mean,
Absolutely.
it wasn't the most amount of passes you'll see, but there was shit going on.
Yeah,
Like,
the
it wasn't
wrong
boring.
Kyle won this weekend, I'll say that. But it's It's fine.
I wouldn't say that.
Hey, listen, go hit your vape pen a few more times and relax, okay? I was happy with
The
that.
wrong boy won.
Yeah.
Speaking of the wrong boy, you want to talk about a disappointing weekend with Corey LaJoie taking over for
I've
Chase
never
Elliott.
been more pleased in my fucking life.
God damn! And then Carson Hocevar out there. And ultimately, he bent it, and I don't think it was his fault. He had a brake rotor failure, right? He was the first one to succumb to that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so
he was up to like 16th when that happened.
But
was running well.
he dominated the broadcasts, which is not at all what I imagine Corey would want to happen. And yeah, just that went about as poorly as you could have expected for Corey LaJoie. Now he's back to a car where
Listen,
somebody outran
when
him.
you got Mikey in the booth and his boy toys out there showing those guys who's boss as a rookie.
his adopted son.
Yes, I don't know about it. Well, adopted son in the who's that Matt Gates sense where he, never mind.
No.
That's really.
Poor Carson. No wonder he's so aggressive.
Oh gosh.
But seriously, good kudos to Carson Hocevar. I've talked a bunch of shit about him on this show, but he went out there and he handled that whole thing like a pro. Gave a great interview after shit happened, and he left everybody with a good taste in their mouths on the biggest stage there is to be on. And I don't think there's anything else he could have done other than that. And Corey LaJoie coming out of I would put the number 9 car as probably the number 4 on the totem pole at Hendrick right now, just because they're trying to figure it out and get Chase back into position. But still one of the best cars out there. I'd rather be in the worst Hendrick car than the one that Carson Hocevar was driving. I'll tell you that.
I mean, to play devil's advocate for Corey just a tiny bit. I mean, that car hasn't had.
You can't.
He hasn't.
Listen here. I read a stat yesterday that since the number 9 car came back in 2018, which is like 195 races, that this is only the second time that at 0 point in the race was the car ever in the top 15. And Corey, he fucking blew it.
Well, I mean, the car
in 25th, 26 all day.
Yeah.
Never. It wasn't like he got up to the front at any point and then finished poorly. He was just dog shit all day.
Yeah. Well, here's the point I was trying to make. So that car has had now 4 different drivers in 15 races. It was the slowest all weekend of the Hendrick cars. He was slow in practice. He fucking hit the wall in qualifying. Again, not to
Twice.
Not to give him any credit, but I mean that team's been in this shit. Even when Chase has been in it, they haven't been good. So.
Yeah.
Right now,
Josh Berry didn't have this problem stepping in.
Well, Josh and Chase have kind of run on an even keel. They're getting top 10s. They're hovering around 8th to 15th. It's consistent, and it's not what you really want to see out of a team of that caliber. But they're out there doing it, and to have Josh Berry, I believe they said this on DBC, so I don't mean to parrot a talking point from them, but the 9 was dog shit at the beginning of a lot of those races that Josh was driving, and they were able to get it corrected and move forward. And for whatever reason, they were unable to do that with Corey, whether it's the length of the race or maybe all the data going down, or maybe it was Corey. I don't know. It could be any one of those things, all 3 of them. But yeah, definitely not what he was probably hoping to get done this weekend with his big shot. And I bet you Mr. Hendrick is just putting that little letter back into the shredder after taping it back together. If you know what I'm talking about,
lightning delay. We
Yeah.
couldn't have flown Josh Berry in during that 2-hour delay. He would have got us the top 15.
Still no movement on the Josh Berry front, by the way.
Again, I feel like bigger things are afoot here, and we're gonna have to wait until that announcement gets made.
I think we know what it is, but we're not going to talk about it.
Well, let's mention the one. We heard a rumor. We're not going to say what that rumor is yet, but one rumor that we should talk about is the Almirola leaving at the end of 2023, and Michael McDowell being rumored to take that spot. What?
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, that was talked about all weekend.
I didn't hear that. I mean, this is, again, as first reaction, that's a pretty good call. I don't know. I think Mike has never really gotten a great shot. And he's always really outperformed his equipment, and I think we saw more of that. By the way, I just want to give a shout out to the entire Front Row organization. Fucking Todd Gilliland getting a top 20 yet again. Like, that kid is crushing it out there. And Michael McDowell was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack all weekend. In practice, he was anyway. He qualified not so well, but he had top 10 speed. And they got up there in strategy, and he kind of was in the mix up until the very end. So, like, I don't know, man.
Plus, he had to battle back, too. I mean, I took him out of my lineup because he got spun and got a little bit of damage, but I thought he was just going to be in the 20th, second half of the field the rest of the race. But last stage, there he is back in the top 5 again. So
yeah, he's low key the man, and I'm not a Michael McDowell fan by any stretch for a number of reasons, but I really I think I'd rather see that than some other guys, to be honest. It'd be a good story, and hey, if you got like an empty seat for like a year or two, or you're waiting for somebody to pop back up, maybe Cole get his shit together, we'll try that in Cup again. I don't think there's anybody other than Michael McDowell that you'd want to put in there that might be available. So
I know Harrison Burton's been another one that's been rumored.
Yeah, well,
and he hasn't proved himself, but who knows?
Harry B.
Yeah, that poor kid better be getting on fucking Indeed.com if he doesn't clean his act up anytime soon.
I could see him being another one of those like Jesse Little, Ben, whatever the hell guy who's vice president now, who's only like in his 30s.
Ben Kennedy. Sorry.
There you go. Yeah, like I could see him in one of those roles. Failed kid of somebody that gets a corporate job.
Yeah, and I kind of feel bad for him. He doesn't suck. He definitely can wheel a race car, but just not this particular one. The Gen 7 just doesn't seem to be his style, or the next gen, or whatever the fuck it is. So I feel kind of bad for him, but. I don't know. Let's get somebody else in there, maybe. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
But yeah, so that was the weekend of racing, and there had to have been some DARFs,
weren't there,
Rob?
That Austin Dillon tried to get Austin Cindric.
Oh shit! Yeah, I totally forgot. That was another social media.
This is a discussion I want to have, because my initial reaction to that was, who the fuck is this guy, and what is he trying to do? Like, I get it, but like, come on. But I mean. It's tough as a fan, and I'm sure it's tough for NASCAR to look at this and now have to police every single incident. And like, look, with Chase and with Bubba, those were very particular, egregious actions. They're very similar. Mm-hmm. They were very violent. They were very high speed in the same part of a particular kind of racetrack. And to me, that's what makes it a ball and strike call, is because those are probably the most dangerous places you could make a move like that.
Yep.
But now every single time somebody gets spun out, or we're going to have somebody going on Twitter with SMT data and crying to NASCAR, and they've really opened a box here that, from my standpoint, it doesn't really require data to make that call, because, to me, the Chase and, Bubba incidents were pretty obvious, and this one was a little bit more sort of murky. But hey, if he left hooked him or right hooked him, and that's how we're going to do it, like, maybe a suspension is warranted. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't know if you guys saw, but this afternoon, Austin got very vocal on Twitter and was like, listen, no one's actually checked the data apparently, because I have the data and I barely turned left at all because I was going to turn into the corner. Like, Austin backed up all this shit. He's like, I'm tired of my reputation being dragged through the mud. This is what happened.
Well, don't have a TV show then,
Yeah. What's that? What?
I'm sorry. what reputation are we talking about? I'm sorry.
Oh, well, whatever. Anyways,
Wait, Austin?
Cindric, I should say Cindric.
Oh, there's two Austins. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was thinking about Austin Cindric does not have a TV show. I'm sorry.
Yes. But no, Cindric was very vocal on Twitter today. He's like, Denny talked about it on his show and never actually checked the fucking data. The data was definitely not clear, not nearly as clear as the Chase incident was. Mm-hmm. He explained it was just a racing deal, and even watching it, it's like Austin kind of came up into him. If you Dylan, excuse me, I should specify which Austin I'm talking about.
That's
Dylan
what it looked
kind
like
of
to me initially was.
That's what I thought too. It didn't seem like a straight dumping,
Yes.
And this is like kind of where it gets murky for me, is because like, if you're gonna penalize it, and again, like, to bring in Carson Hocevar to the conversation, because I love to do that, when he right hooked, I think it was Tanner Gray at IRP. That was pretty shitty too, and I feel like that warranted a suspension. So like, where is the line when we're gonna talk about this particular move? Are we doing all of them? Are we doing none of them? Like, are we really gonna expect NASCAR to make ball and strike calls in these situations? Like, I don't know. It's a really fucked up Pandora's box we're opening here, to where you could even get to just banning any sort of contact altogether if you really wanted to go for it, which is not going to happen. But
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough.
Yeah, I think Austin Dillon was just extra upset because Pop's new favorite special boy was in victory lane, and Pop wasn't paying him any attention.
There's a new grandson in town.
Trust me, I have already theorized how to get Kyle into the 3 car, because it has to happen at some point. But how is it gonna happen? Because like, he's gonna outperform Austin until the day Austin gets out of that car.
Hey, if you look closely, you can see under the wrap there is a clear number 3 under there, because they'll just wrap over pre-existing wraps.
Oh, that's true.
You can see, so technically he's already there, buddy.
Yeah, I know, but we all want to see that, I think.
Yeah, at this point, absolutely. Anybody, please.
So yeah, that was the Austin incident. Which Austin? Who?
Austin on Austin violence.
Yeah. But yeah, there had to have been some DARFs. Let's talk about the DARFs, Rob. You've got
there's so many DARFs coming out this weekend for so many reasons. Actually, and this was sent to me by a ton of different people. Again, my buddy Kyle, who I'm going to be going to see at Eldora this weekend. A bunch of other folks sent this to me. This is from John Edwards down on Pit Road. It says, so far today, we've had 2 random, and this is DARFs at the track. This is an online bullshit. These are people, live people, fucking this up for everybody. So far today, we've had 2 randoms climb atop the pit box, and they say they belonged because they are friends with the track president. Fans put beer in our team cooler to keep it cold, and a fan stole a driver's water bottle. This is the kind of shit that is going to make it so hard to have the access that we have in NASCAR. And again, it's a major sport, and I think every single one of us is able to get pretty damn close to the action and like down into the pits. And
was this Sunday during the Cup race?
Yes, this was Sunday. People down on pit road with hot passes.
7 hours in the heat.
Yeah,
made people go a little.
To me, the most out of pocket is just like, hey, I mean, I'm gonna put my beers in here, which is fucking insane because you're not even supposed to have beer down there. But
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so all of those people are my official DARF for the week. But there's one more we'll get into after we discuss this.
Yeah, it's not like there's a whole lot of security. But what's that?
I was just yelling at the DARFs to quit fucking this up for the rest of us.
Oh,
yeah, that's my ultimate point is please don't fuck this up for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not like there's a ton of security down there. And the couple times I've been on pit road during races and stuff, I am like, my head's on a swivel trying to make sure I'm not in anybody's fucking way. And, just let me watch and see some shit without bothering anyone.
Well, that's because
you
you have
talk to people.
You have situational awareness, Brian, which it seems like a lot of the people who somehow managed to make it into the garage area this weekend just straight up don't have. So, but yeah, please don't fuck this up.
Uncle Kenny's relatives.
Yeah, the entire extended Wallace clan is out.
Is that Peanut? What the hell's
What's his friend's name? Peanut.
Peanut.
No. Peanut's not going to go out there, and he knows a thing or two about the racetrack. He spends every weekend in the pits. Yeah. My actual DARF of the week, though, is comes in regards to NASCAR's statement on what happened when everything went down. Of course, if you were watching the broadcast, Carson, host of our wreck, the entire broadcast just went down. MRN, Fox, everybody. There was no communications. Apparently, some sort of fiber issue outside the track, and just brought the whole thing.
Kill switch.
He hit the kill switch on the dash, shut down all the data. But this is in response to that statement. The official statement, of course, I'm just going to go ahead and read. During NASCAR's today's NASCAR Cup Series race at WWT Raceway, there was an off-site fiber connectivity failure that briefly interrupted the television and radio broadcast, as well as impacting internet for teams on pit road. There was not a failure with any track or NASCAR equipment at the facility during today's event. Just kind of covering their asses. A guy named Marty Kaufman hops in and says, "Why was the Cup race in St. Louis and the Xfinity race in Portland? I thought they were always together, so you should have had the Cup Series race in Portland. You would have not had the connectivity issue.
Oh, okay. That solves it.
We got why didn't I think of that? Fuck's sake.
You must work over at the Geek Squad at Best Buy.
Yeah, you're sentenced to putting a Walmart sack on your head for 30 minutes this week for being our Dark of the Week, buddy. Sort some of your trauma out. I don't know. Fuck. That's the dumbest shit. That might be the dumbest person we've seen all year. But at least they spelled everything correctly, so.
What a conundrum.
Yeah. So what do we think? Did you like Gateway? Did we enjoy it overall?
Other than it being like 7 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
It was fine.
Because less brake issues next time would be also
pretty wild how that's. I'm wondering, and we didn't really see this at Loudon last year, because that's probably the closest track to with long straightaways and flat corners. But it's just long enough to where things cool off on the straightaways and just tight enough of a turning radius in the corners for the brakes to heat up and they just explode. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, Denny talked about that a little bit on his podcast, obviously with his team having issues in both cars. He mentioned the heat cycle thing, and he also talked about how, I guess, all the leaders during the red flags, like, they would move their car every few minutes, like just a couple feet to, like, keep the brakes clean and keep them from getting all settled. And I don't know, there was some stuff there that I totally didn't understand, but okay, at least he tried to explain it. It's a weird thing to fail, and it's a scary thing to fail, and hopefully it's not an issue to other tracks. But
I'm a little surprised we haven't heard about Carson Hocevar not passing concussion protocol, because that was a very nasty hit. That was very bad.
Well, he was close to the wall
too.
Yeah. What did I just say? Did I say Carson Hocevar?
You said Hocevar, yeah.
Well, I meant Noah Gragson. That one was. Yeah. Carson's was pretty nasty too, but it wasn't as bad as Noah. I got Carson on the brain today. Jesus, he's got such a fun name, right? But yeah, Noah's wreck was, backing it into the wall exactly how you don't want to in one of these cars, and that was ugly.
Backing pieces of his car into some
children.
Guy's chest in the grandstands. Hashtag $1 million wound.
That's the hashtag of the year, folks. That guy's fine.
He'll get a free T-shirt out of it. It'll be good.
Oh, speaking of free T-shirts, we got to talk about that asshole. There was some guy they showed on camera with a homemade NASCAR shirt, and somebody from NASCAR's social media team found him, and they gave him just like a shitty generic NASCAR shirt, and they showed him back in the crowd with the T-shirt wrapped around his neck with just this shitty homemade shirt still on. So kudos to that, because that shirt sucked, the one they gave him.
Speaking of the power and shit going on, did you see that Cars race this weekend at Langley where all the lights went out mid-feature?
No.
Oh, yeah, I did see an onboard clip of that.
Pitch black. It's fucked up, and it's amazing that nobody really got fucked up out of that. But yeah, if you have Flow Racing, you can watch the highlight. They have it posted on their main page on the app, and completely pitch black except for some Christmas lights off in turn 2. Wild shit. So.
Well, speaking of Flow Racing and $1 million, that brings us to our Video of the Week segment. And
that's a fucking segue, buddy. God damn.
There were a couple different segues I could have used there.
What were the other ones?
I was going to go into the racing curses, because this is also about a curse, which I guess we can talk about a little bit. I mean, there's a handful of different curses in racing, that people think green cars are cursed. There's the Hooters curse. Rob, you know any other ones? Those are the two I know off the top of my head.
Cars. Did you mention cars being green? He did, yeah. That's the big one. Talladega as a track is generally pretty cursed.
Yeah, that's fair. But the $1 million curse with the Moran family is not one I'd heard about until this video popped up on my feed. And with Rob's trip to Eldora this weekend, and maybe me also, I figured it'd be a good video to watch. So this video is about the Moran family. Patriarch Donnie is a longtime Ohio late model racer who had a lot of... Yeah, for sure. Had a lot of success at Eldora, and seems like he won a big race there every time he had a child. And the Eldora Million in 2003 was the same case. He won his biggest purse with his only daughter. His sons, he won World 100s after they were born, but his daughter was just about to be born when he won the $1 million. But after that, they didn't win shit. The Moran family didn't win a race. He didn't win the rest of his career, and so far, even though Devin, his son, has been an Eldora track champion, he has not won there.
How fucking incredible is that?
So this 40-minute feature is about the Moran story and about the 2022 Eldora Million, which took place, and that's my intro to this segment. I'll let Rob talk a little more since he's the late model guy.
Yeah, big time late model guy now. This is a new obsession of mine, by the way, the dirt late model world. It's a fascinating one, by the way. But yeah, I've been wanting to talk about one of these flow racing documentaries for a while. There's been some amazing content coming out. And they also have their hand. I think the most obvious one for most people out there who might not have flow racing is the series on Fox right now called Dirt, which sort of stars Kyle Larson a little bit. He's sort of the big prized baby in that one. There's a bunch of other folks in there too, but that's an example of the quality you're going to get with all these documentaries. The Bettenhausen documentary is incredible as well, if you have a chance to watch that. And Flow's starting to release all these on YouTube as well. And I don't know if you guys have ever met Matthew Dillner. He's just the nicest fucking guy. Really loves racing. Really like a historian, smart guy, and is kind of heading up all this shit. So this is another one of those. And this came out last year before The Dream. And it just chronicles just how the tap got shut off and just how sort of magical of a place Eldora is. I kind of liken it to Indy almost in the way that how storied it is and how important it is to late model racing, And yeah, just as soon as Donnie Moran won that, the tap got shut off and they've been unable to, they've come close, but the whole family has been unable to win there since then. And he's pretty good. Like you said, he's a track champion. So, but he did it without winning. So it's a pretty fascinating look here. A lot of really great archival footage in here. Again, that's one great thing about Flow is that they have access to this entire library of old footage from back in the day. I can't shove this down your throats enough. Just get this fucking subscription already, please. It's like $160 a year. You get everything, including The Dream this weekend. Maybe you'll see me sitting over there on the grass with a toilet water in my hand, shithoused. I don't know if you're so lucky, but
I will say when it comes to the old footage, I was really blown away, and it's one of those things every time I see some old late model stuff, whether it be t-shirts or programs or footage on YouTube, wherever, the cars were so crazy looking back in the 90s and early 2000s. Like that, the car that Donnie won that wasn't 2003, but I think one of his World 100 wins, there was like almost no roof, like almost no greenhouse.
It's so shallow.
So insane, like absolutely insane looking. The car just looks completely flat, and then you see the cars of today and the bodies are all twisted and the rear ends are all jacked up, and it's wild how those cars have progressed, and that's another thing I'd like to do some research on in the future, is just the late models in general.
Well, there's actually, speaking of Flow, there's a great little 10-minute piece talking to a bunch of different team owners about what technology is like right now in the late model world and how different it is from even like 4 or 5 years ago, between the advent of streaming coming out and sort of blowing the sport wide open to a bunch of people, and also the technological advancements coming in from all sorts of like nooks and crannies of the other racing worlds, just how dependent they are on computers for setups, for some teams. And again, the Twisted Sister kind of design we see in a lot of these cars that Rocket and Longhorn are putting out. It's a really fascinating shit right now.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, as far as notes, I didn't have a ton of stuff other than what we covered. Like I said, it was very interesting how Donnie literally won a World 100 every time he had a son, and then had a daughter and won the $1 million. For the $1 million race, they built a brand new car, never ran it, never tested it, never did anything with it, just like won the pole.
Only time ever ran, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, like literally the car is sitting as it raced in his garage, which is pretty cool.
With that huge, like, I forget what the name is, and again, if there's any dirt late model folks out there, I apologize, but that giant support bar in the back.
Oh, he talks about that, and how he hit the wall 7 times, but the car is still completely straight.
And how that's just you come within 3 feet feet of the high side these days, and that back just shears off, flapping in the wind. But
I thought Donnie.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
What I was gonna say, and maybe you're about to bring this up, I thought this is really funny. Like after Donnie wins the $1 million, they decide to just kind of do a red eye haul back to the house, and they stop into McDonald's for breakfast, and there's a couple of little shithead race fans in there and ahead of him in line talking about the race, just ordering their like McMuffins or whatever, man, that's so cool, I can't believe he just won $1 million. And Donnie's standing behind him with that $1 million check in his wallet, and I kind of thought to myself, I was like, why didn't you buy these fuckers breakfast?
That's what I was thinking.
Like, McDonald's breakfast was like 88 cents back in those days. Like, buy these guys some fucking snacks.
Well, he had 5 children to pay for,
You just won $1 million. What was the check on a bounce? Like,
hey, listen.
It's still a cool story, but like, I don't know. If it was me, handing out other people's money, I would have bought the whole damn McDonald's breakfast if I was in there.
Well, to piggyback off that sentiment, what I was gonna say was he seems like a very down to earth, humble guy. Like he talks about, he's like, I was a throttle masher, and he's like, I was pretty good. It wasn't the best, but I was pretty good. And he won so many times, and I just thought he seemed like a really interesting, nice dude.
Very humble guy, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that kind of plays into that McDonald's story a little bit.
I agree. It's definitely, he probably didn't even want to bring up who he was because out of not embarrassment, but I get that. Like. Yeah. It's just that humility, But still, like, maybe I'm just an asshole. I don't know. You get breakfast. You get breakfast.
He comes back out to his wife in the car, and the check is just dwindled down.
Yeah, yeah. He now won $999,996. Then the tax man comes. Yeah.
The only note that I had really made, like when the documentary first started, like hearing over and over all these like big time, big purse races that he had won, my first thought was like he's the original Jonathan Davenport, and then for Davenport to come back and be the one that wins the $1 million race when they bring it back.
Yeah, it is a little bit poetic for sure. Again, like the curse, it's real. For whatever reason, it has to be because he was just too damn good, and that family is too damn good at what they do to not win. So something's keeping him. Hopefully, I get to see the curse broken this weekend. I
was gonna say, Rob, if he wins this weekend, then that means you're the curse breaker. That means you're the good luck charm.
I'm the golden boy. I am the golden boy. Now, I got my money on RTJ this weekend. I want to see Ricky Thornton get it done. But, I think there's like 76 cars in the entry list now, and it's just going to keep going up until we get to Thursday. So this is going to be a hell of a race. If you can watch it, it's going to be on Flow Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And, just buy that subscription for this weekend alone. It's worth it. And then you get all kinds of other shit for the rest of the year.
A couple other little notes I had. The actual documentary part of the race footage was fine. I mean, it was just kind of behind the scenes shots of the family and getting set up and guys swearing a lot and
lots of cussing.
I enjoyed that. The couple other quotes that I have from Donnie, I guess when Devin was coming up, he told the son, like, if you can beat me, you can beat anybody, because they did race together for a few years. And then when, Donnie retired, he focused to just working on the team full time. And after the race happens and Devin loses, the interviewer asks Donnie if he would trade one of his World 100 wins to see his son win, and he was like, no, he's got to go get his own, which I just really got a kick out of that.
It's fucking true.
He's a dad, but he's a racer. So
yeah, there's got to be no better feeling as a father than to just whip your son's ass on the racetrack.
Mm-hmm. But also, it's got to feel good to get your ass whipped by them too.
Of course, yeah.
So. But yeah, that was a documentary, and it'll be on our YouTube playlist, and it's well worth your 37 minutes. It's a great watch. It goes real quick, so
it covers a lot
really
of ground in a short time. Yeah, it's really good. And again, all the flow racing documentaries are great. There's a Jonathan Davenport one, we mentioned him a second ago, about him winning the Eldora million and just his big season, basically just cleaning house last year. Not such a hot start this year. He's up in the mix, but not quite as hot as he was last year. Certainly a little lighter on the wallet, but Jonathan Davenport's certainly one of the greatest of all time, and we'll see more of him. But yeah, definitely watch that. What's that one called again? Dirty Dollars? That's it, yeah. But yeah,
you
Flo,
would know better than me.
anytime Flo puts out a documentary, it's appointment viewing for me, and it should be for you too. And again, they're putting them on YouTube now, so do yourself a favor.
Dillner was a co-producer on this one.
Yeah, and again, like he's kind of spearheading that whole division, and he's just such a good dude.
Cool. So yeah, that was this week's trip to Applebee's. We've already talked about the weekend's trip to Eldora. Ashley's got nothing going on this weekend racing-wise, I'm assuming.
You want to come to Ohio, buddy?
Eldora is a bucket list track for me, but I do not have the money for that.
Oh.
Drink some toilet water for me.
I will. I absolutely will.
But not from
I'll mail you the Tootsie Roll off the top of one of mine. How's that sound? Put that in your little display case.
Oh, yeah. Right up there on the shelf.
So yeah, aside from Ohio, we've got NASCAR's back out on another road course at Sonoma. So that'll probably be a good race, hopefully. We'll see what happens there. I don't know about Indy or F1. Are they racing anywhere? I feel like Indy's probably
so.
off,
I think
right?
They're off. Yeah, I think they're
Just
off.
nothing happening other than the dream as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. So that's the racing weekend, and we will, be back with another wrap up next week on everything that happens. As always, you can follow us at Meet Me at DeBees on Twitter and Meet Me at Applebee's on Instagram. I am Speedway Screens, and my store is speedwaytsj.etsy.com.
Yep. Snake Mountain _Truelove.
Oh.
That's it. That's literally all you're gonna get. I hate this segment.
We talk about ourselves.
For 10 whole seconds.
Yeah.
You know you've been on the show the whole time, right? Rob Moats _unofficial on Instagram and Twitter and all that. Oh, by the way, this weekend the other big race is the 24-hour of Le Mans, the Garage 56 entry run by it's an illegal Hendrick car, pretty much. And they're out there running with the big boys of the WEC. That's always a good show. And again, I'm probably going to miss all that because I'm.
They won some kind of pit stop competition.
Oh, no shit.
So,
Well, how about that?
Let's see if Jimmy Johnson can keep it on the track this week.
No, Jimmy.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, he'll probably get the shortest stint out of anybody, but it'll be cool to see how they fare in 24 hours. That car is pretty fantastic, and this one, again, it's a full GT car now, so it's a little more suited to road racing than Brien, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
He just had a message come in on his phone.
Yeah, gotta get that. Jesus. Said what?
I knocked my mic over. Stop it, you guys. Oh, I hate you guys.
But yeah, we'll be back next week to talk all kinds of shit about everything. Again, my band's called These Wild Plains. We have some cool shit coming up. I just can't talk about it just yet, but I swear to God, something sweet's coming up this fall, and I'm very excited to talk about it once I'm able to, but it's not my announcement to make, so.
Cool. All right, folks. Well, that's Trip to Applebee's. We'll talk to y'all next week.